Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. It's your host Akshat, and today's episode is going to be an exciting deep dive into the world of prompt engineering, Gen AI, and LLMs. We have got a fantastic guest lined up for you today. We have Pramay from Rizzle with us. Let's get it started and hear from the man himself. So, Pramay, how did you get into generative AI?
Yeah, hi. So before Rizzle, actually, I was in Viman, so where my
Yeah.
profile was mainly related to computer vision. And when I took a switch from Viman, one of the major reasons was I wanted to explore this field, generative AI, because at this moment only, like it's like 5 months back, and that time only it was all blooming LLMs and all. So I just wanted to explore that thing. So when I joined Rizzle, so just to give a very quick intro about Rizzle, so basically it's a text to video platform where given some news articles, you can have a like short durations or long duration videos created uh, just by the platform. So there, basically there's a good role of LLMs where we are like basically given some article. We try to do some summarizations, all sort of NLP techniques, and then other things. For example, when we want to evaluate like is our video good or not, uh, that there also we use some sort of LLM called prompt engineering and all. Yeah. So overall, yeah, this is my experience with LLMs.
Okay. Pramay, that is great. So as you mentioned, you are using LLMs and to generate a summary out of articles and then to make videos out of it. So like there are various approaches out there. Like some of people do prompt engineering, okay,
Mhm.
on the base LLMs, and then some of them, do rags along with basic prompts, and then some of them do LLM fine tuning itself. So what is the approach like you are taking right now, and what works in your opinion and in different scenarios?
Yeah. So the current approach is simple prompt engineering based only.
Okay.
RAGs and all, I think they have like become very popular in the very recent times. So I don't think so. We have like till now also we are working on the product improvements part. So right now we have not explored the RAGs part.
Okay.
So it's as of now it's simple prompt engineering. We are just playing, and when we see issues with the outputs, we just try to modify the prompts and see the results. Basically, this is just an iterative cycle.
Okay. What is the stage of your project right now? Like, you are like exploring or building internally, or it is deployed in the production for users? Like, what is
Yeah,
the
so things are deployed in the production for the users. Overall, I mean, the user won't have the access to any LLMs and all. It's like the internally those calls have been made, so it's a part of the product actually.
Okay. Okay. You told, you mentioned about, doing about prompt engineering. Okay,
Hmm.
so what are the, main challenges which you faced while doing prompt engineering? Um,
Yeah. So major challenge, like the biggest challenge is like even though you're getting like suppose you wrote a simple prompt and then you got a correct answer, for example, correct output, right?
okay.
But there is no guarantee as such that like if you test it on multiple cases, the same prompt will work.
Yeah.
We have seen multiple failure cases because of that. So like you like at your end you have to add some validations and all, but those are also limited, right? You cannot predict what can go wrong. Sometimes the format that you're expecting might differ. Sometimes it will give you some extra information. Sometimes there can be like hallucinations also some one of the common
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Major things that I have faced personally is the uh, sort of getting some random outputs even though there should not have been. Because of that, the validations failed and like there were some errors in the whole code pipelines. That
Okay. And what are the, some methods which you have applied to, tackle some of these problems?
yeah. So one simple like one common approach is like I've read on the net also, and like when you are getting the output from the LLM, right? You
Yeah.
can have the your LLM to give it in a specific format, for example, JSON format or an XML tags and all.
Okay.
This sort of like reduces the chance of uh, uh, incorrect formats error, and also like you can at your end then you can pass that whole string into the XML or correct JSON.
Mm-hmm.
There also you can like so there are multiple things like better is like while doing the prompt just add all the sort of information. For example, you already know that uh, so suppose for example if you're wanting an output, right, and there can be an output or it can be an empty string, for example.
Okay.
So in those cases like you have to specifically like mention, okay, if you don't see any valid output, just give an empty string or give a none or something like that, so
Okay.
that reduces the chance of getting an random output. Although this technique also have seen errors coming, but I mean it's all based on like this few change. Like once you get an error, you just slightly modify the prompt. Sometimes just rearranging the structure also changes the things.
Okay.
So I mean there is no, I mean the correct way of prompt engineering. It's like okay, it solves your problem. Let's try with that and let's see when the next error comes.
Okay. So like my next question is about like since you mentioned like you have to change prompt to tackle some errors or change prompt to get efficient output. So
Mhm.
what is the how many iterations of different prompts one have to try usually in on average to get a satisfactory results out of your prompt engineering? Like how many prompts one have to try usually? Uh,
Uh, so yeah, I mean it's a tedious process. So like I don't know exactly the how many prompts, but what I've seen like me and my friends also working on a prompt engineering task for few days. For example, 1 week has been spent, and like till now, either we are still looking for a good prompt, or like we got a prompt and things worked, but suddenly it failed. So on
okay.
average, the duration can be like days and sometimes even weeks. So yeah.
Okay, so what I'm understanding, it's a continuous process.
Yeah, it's a definitely
So
continuous process.
yeah, so I think if even if you try 4 to 5 prompts in a day, so it's a continuous process. So the amount will be more than 100. Uh,
Exactly. And there is no guarantee. Like,
right.
like there is all like after each iteration, you are just reducing the probability that it will fail. But
Okay.
you cannot be 100% sure that it, okay, this is the only thing. And we like, so basically, you always will have to sometimes later you have to change or modify or update the prompt in that manner. Yeah.
Okay. So now my next question is because you mentioned about having bad outputs. So
Mhm.
how do you like what is the approach like when a prompt gives you output? So what is the approach to analyze all those outputs?
Yeah, so that is also one big challenge. Like right now, mostly it's done by the devs and the like we have a QA there.
Okay.
So it's not completely automated. There's a quality assurance people, they properly validate because the use cases can be very vast, right? So
Oh, yeah.
it's very difficult to define a very specific evaluation metric to the specific case.
Yeah.
So initially it's done like by the developers only who's developing the prompt is writing the prompt. Once he is satisfied, we like to avoid wasting developers' time and so
Mm-hmm.
that he can work on something else, we have some QAs assigned. So uh, they'll test our prompts or all the LLM calls on a large set of data, and they have a very good like they when they analyze in a very proper manner like what all things have failed, and
Mm-hmm.
on those pointers only, like we try to understand, okay, this thing's failed and why it failed, and then again the prompt updation part happens.
Okay.
Yeah,
This process is more at the phase of experimentation, and you mentioned the
exactly.
product is live in the production for the users to use. So
Mhm.
what is the approach there? Like, how do you manage the quality or see the quality if it is, meeting the customer expectation or
Yeah,
the output is good or bad in the production?
yeah. So, so we have this relevancy checking where like we have outputs from the what do you say? Basically, we have some NLP pipeline right in the product. So we have outputs from those NLP pipeline.
Okay.
Each component we take and depending on what component it is, we use LLMs to, like, for example, we have this search, right?
Okay.
So, uh, like we can have, okay, LLM has access to the whole text and we can see your image, suppose, not the image actually, but the text actually, and the context of the text, like we know. So we'll just manually write a prompt to see, okay, in this context, if this search extracted by the original text, is it relevant or not?
Mhm.
And so this is just a single example. There are pretty much many things, and yeah. So
So what I'm understanding is like you sample the outputs and then you randomly pass it through some framework which you have developed,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it gives you. So my next question is like, what are the different kind of, because again it's a costly tech and everything. So in production, what are the different kind of framework or KPIs one should track to um, check if the feature is working or not?
correct. So for there are pretty like few metrics that we. So basically, in our case, the things are deployed on AWS, right?
Okay.
So uh, AWS console shows you like many stats. Like I have not personally dealt at those, but what I've seen people doing, like checking the amount of calls. Like you have the logs, right? So we log all the LLM calls whenever they happen. So you have the logs, and like from the console you can filter all those. You can write a query and filter all those logs and just see key, okay, for this pipeline or for this just text to video creation, how many LLM calls were made, how many were successful, if they failed, so were there any network errors and all. So that's how we track.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
Okay, nice. So we have discussed many things now, yeah. And because you are a part of AI team ML engineering yourself, so
Mm.
we would love to, if you share some light on what kind of skill sets an AI team should have in today's scenario to build a great AI product, uh, having all those LLMs and other image generation models out there. So, what kind of a skill set AI team should have?
Yeah. So I mean, this is a very general. Let's talk about like AI engineers. So, I mean, earlier, just before LM phase,
Mm-hmm.
uh, people mostly had to like basically the way you start was you. There are basic courses. For example, the best one is Andrew Ng's ML course. People used to take up that once you get. So basically, that is a course that will give you a feel of, okay, what this subject is, what is machine learning actually, in a
Mm-hmm.
very easy manner. It's kind of a AI for everyone thing. Like it's there are no very hard prerequisites that you have to be a software developer or you have to be this person only. Uh, Andrew teaches the course very beautifully and like in a very easy manner. So once you have done that course, I think you pretty much get a feel. Okay, what is machine learning? And also like there are very different. Like there are specific areas in the ML. Right? For example, there are traditional ML approaches. There is computer vision. There is NLP. Nowadays it's LLM again. So you get a brief introduction of all these areas, and then maybe based on your interest or at that time you're working on some project and you like that, you dive into one field to start with. For example, I started like luckily I had some project and I got an internship in the in NESAC, like it's a Northeastern Space Application Center. So basically there my project was related to simple object detection. So I started in the computer vision thing, but so basically now you have a okay area key, okay, like I'll explore computer vision more and see where it goes, right? So then you try to build up your fundamentals in the computer vision. So for that, you'll have to learn good amount of maths, probability especially, and then so there are then you do the advanced courses. For example, for computer vision, there is Stanford's CS 231N, and there are many courses nowadays. So it's freely available on YouTube. So it's up to you whatever you want to learn. So then, and yeah, so once you're like, once you get a, okay, like once you get a sense, okay, now I've got an understanding of the field, at least, or the area, and parallel you're working on some projects, I think better is to work in an industry or on some, in the, I mean, no, work in some research institutes. So yeah, once you get to this stage, I think then like it's all about now learning more advanced things only because you are already in that field and you're constantly doing new. Yeah, like
Okay.
and nowadays it's like since LLMs have come,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean now it's like how should I say it? Like basically, so for example, there are LLMs, right? So not
Mm-hmm.
everyone can use LLM
Yeah.
in their product or in a startup, right? Because you
Yes.
need heavy amount of resources and
Yes.
data. So today the big companies are making it a model as a service platform, right? Bring their model, they'll provide the model as
Yes.
a API, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So today, like your I mean your expertise as an ML engineer,
Mm-hmm.
if you're working in the generative AI, or like not in generative AI, but if you're working specifically related to LLMs, your
Mm-hmm.
expertise, you don't exactly require, like, depending on the use case, you don't require like very detailed maths or very detailed, like, a very specific information about the field. I think because LLMs is just an API call, so like you can work on that. Like anyone can start with this and build a ML product. It's not very much specific to, yeah, like you have to be an ML engineer and then only you can build a ML product. Because of LLMs, I think anyone like who has an idea, they can build their product. And once like you realize, okay, in your product you need more components of ML, right? For example, you realize, okay, things are like maybe LLMs is overkill for this thing, and you can use normal LLM NLP based model. Then I think there it requires your ML expertise, like you basically how you choose between different models and satisfying your use case.
Okay. My last question is about like so it's a fast evolving landscape, fast
Mhm.
growing field. So how do you ensure you are up to date with LLMs and Gen AI in general? So
Yeah,
what?
it's a
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, continue.
No, no. Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. Yeah, this is again. I mean, I'm also facing this challenge daily. So like it sometimes it becomes a FOMO that daily so many things are being released, and how do you keep up to
Yeah.
date?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's about like as I said again. See, so there are papers coming every day, right? So, I mean, if you're working on some best ways, if you're working on that use case, just keep some time and, like, for example, I was working on some video captions and basically image captioning and all. So there are like when you're working on that project, instead of start just picking up one model, like the best way is to do some literature survey. Okay, these are the models in the market or in the open source repositories, and just I mean you don't have to spend too much time on the papers initially. You can
Mhm.
just briefly read and just understand the okay what this paper does differently and how, and so in that way you will be like. Like you will come to know okay these are the latest research going on in the field that you're working on. And if and in the general case if you're not working on the ML project as of now but you still are interested in ML, I think the best way is to follow some blogs or like LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn is the best source actually. People keep, like just follow the right people and companies or the groups. They keep on posting. Okay, this paper got released and this is the state of the art currently. They do some demo also. People they basically they experiment in their case. And yeah, I think like for me, though, LinkedIn is the best thing. Like how I keep myself updated.
Okay. So Pramay, any last parting thoughts for our audience?
Uh, as such, no, but yeah, I think like for whoever who wants to
Yeah.
start with the ML, I will definitely encourage like a start maybe understand the LLM. Like this may be very unorthodox, but what I feel is like at least have understanding of what LLMs do
Yeah.
because and then once you get a feel, okay, you have like you're doing something and you approach things, okay, these are the things also that ML can do and NLP can do. Just start with ML courses and pick your area and just work like like go on the initially go on the depth first. Once you have understood that, okay, you have got a decent understanding of the subject, then try to improve your breadth.
Okay.
Yeah, like that.
On that note, we will end this. So we covered a lot of topic today, and thank you, Pramay, for giving your valuable time. That's all for that's all for today, folks. Hope you loved listening to Pramay and had great insights from this episode. Please leave your
Thank
questions in
you.
the comment, and we will reach out to Pramay to answer those for you. Thanks for listening.